I moved from London to Dubai in January of last year, and over the last year and the past couple of months, I've been showing you guys a little bit about my life in Dubai, as well as exploring other cities in the Middle East. And one of the comments I keep getting is, why don't you speak about the cons of living in Dubai? There are so many cons, so many people are leaving, blah, 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 blah. So in today's video, I am going to be addressing what I think are some of the cons of living in Dubai or other countries in the Middle East. The first point that I'm going to be addressing is one that I don't think a lot of people talk about, which is the fact that for the majority of people who move to the UAE or other Middle Eastern countries, no matter how long you stay and no matter how much you invest in the country, you will never be able to gain citizenship. Now, through some investment measures, you can have a golden visa that may last 5 years or 10 years. This might not be important for some people who perhaps come from countries where they already have a strong passport, or if they're only looking to move for a short period of time. But depending on the reason for your move, that might be something you want to weigh up. So let's say, for example, you're coming from a country that currently has a weak passport and you're looking between moving to the UAE or moving to Canada. Canada has a much easier process of naturalization, and naturalization is essentially when you've been in the country for long enough that they basically consider you as part of the furniture and they offer you citizenship, right? You might want to look into that, because regardless of whether you have children here, regardless of how long you stay here, you will never be a citizen. This also kind of factors into security, and some people just don't feel secure in a country where they are not a citizen. And I did hear that during COVID, a lot of people who, I guess in their mind, this was their permanent residence, during COVID, a lot of them were like sent back home or kicked out of the country, etc. That's what I've heard. I can't verify that that's necessarily true, but that is one of the disadvantages of not having citizenship in the country that you call your permanent residence. If you are a resident here, you also have to renew your residency every 2 years, and so that is admin number one, and you also have to pay for that renewal every 2 years. So those are things to bear in mind. The second thing is, I think a lot of people think about Dubai, for example, and all you see is like the tall buildings, and I keep calling this thing the Eiffel Tower, the Burj Khalifa and Dubai Mall, and high rises and flashy cars, etc. And you kind of think that you're going into a concrete jungle, but it is not that. This is literally a very well reformed desert, and there are lots of cons, as you can imagine, that come with living in the desert. One, it can get really hot. I see some people leave comments like, oh, you only have good weather 3 months out of the year. I don't think that's true. I think for me, it's probably the opposite. There are only 3 months where it's really unbearable: June, July, August. And what happens is a lot of stuff tend to also not shut down, but if a restaurant has a rooftop section, that rooftop will be closed because it's too hot to eat outside. So that's not great. But I guess if you are working from home, or if you're working like an office job, the reason why for me I think it was bearable is because I literally just went from my house, which has really good AC, to a car which has really good AC, to the office which has really good AC. So I think I didn't feel it that much. By September it gets better, and honestly this year, January and February, actually even when I came in January and February, it was pretty cold. And kind of connected to that point, if you are a greenery lover, you love trees, you love fresh air, long walks in the park, there's just not that much greenery. That might be something that you would miss. And so if you were walking your dog, for example, I wouldn't see that many places that would be great to take your dog for, like, you know, a walk through the woods, or like, you know, a big green park. There are some, but there's just not that many. Sometimes when I feel like, oh, I'm a bit stuffy in my apartment, and I open my window, I don't get that woof of fresh air. If anything, outside is more stuffy and the air feels more stale, and the wind, the breeze has sand in it, and I just end up closing the window and I just can't get that fresh air. These things are definitely minor things for me, but I know for some people that would be a really big deal. Slightly connected to that point as well, I don't feel like Dubai is very walkable. I think it's getting better, but for example, right outside of my apartment, there's like a square, right? You know, like one of those squares that has loads of different shops. It has a gym, it has a hotel. But for the longest time, to get to the square, which is literally right across the road from my apartment, if I wanted to cross the road safely, I'd have to walk like 3 to 5 minutes down the road to actually find a crossing. Recently, they did add an additional crossing, which has been great, but you kind of do find Dubai is like that. And some places are more walkable, and I've started to walk a bit more now as well. I don't think my area is that bad. And within some, like if you're within a community, it might not be that bad, but in comparison to other cities that I've been to, it's not that walkable. Honestly, I don't think any country that I've been to so far has beaten UK transport. I do think that we have like one of the best transports in terms of the underground, the overground, the railways, the connectability between all of the main cities, the bus. Like you have so many options for transport that it really connects you everywhere. Whereas here, I'm definitely highly reliant on taxis, which ends up being really expensive because the rail lines kind of run in a straight line. And also, like, if you're not close to one, it's just highly unlikely that you'll take it because, for example, if I was going to take the metro, I'd have to get taxi to the metro, get on the metro, get off the metro, and probably have to take taxi to the place again. That it just really doesn't make sense. And so you just kind of choose the convenience of getting a taxi or you have a car. One positive about that though, if you are coming from the UK and you want to drive in Dubai, it's actually really easy to pass your, you don't actually have to redo your test. You can literally just convert your license. But for most other countries, if you come here, you will need to do your driving test again. And I have heard that they make you fail the first time just to kind of take your money. And because driving here, passing your driving test here can be quite hard. And then I'm just going to list off a few other things that I think are major cons. One is the fact that WhatsApp is basically not allowed here. So if you want to use it, you have to use a VPN. A lot of the times now I just resort to using Google Meet because it's a lot easier, but that is like one really annoying frustration. And I would say as well, but I don't know if this is such a bad thing, but the tap water, I mentioned this before, but the tap water is not great at all. Well, not even not great, just don't drink it, don't ingest it. Okay, so I literally just woke up and just opened the tap, and this is the water that came out. So usually I would run the water for a very long period of time before I use it for anything, because this literally just came out of the tap. The most I do is use it for washing, and a lot of people who move here always complain about like their hair falling out. I've heard a lot of people have skin issues because they're washing their face with the water. You can get a filter. Whenever you move to another country, it's going to be an adjustment, right? So you will find issues, and a lot of them are quite resolvable. You can get a filter, you can get a VPN. Those are my top 3. I know that there are many other cons that people list, but if you have other cons, then definitely list them in the comment section. That might be quite helpful for people who are looking to move and want to know what they should prepare for.